Gebbers family.
Awesome.
Why?
Because once you're in their respect, they're going to trust you, and they're going to give you the tools you need to be successful.
In part 4 of this series on growing Gamble Sands, we've learned the Gambles and Gebbers family history, their business, and their work ethic.
And so they traded and bartered for everything through the Depression, but she never filed bankruptcy. And so we have big shoes to fill, to scratch the gravel that hard to have the company survive and the family name survive.
And then we learned about their interest in something other than apples, cherries, and cattle.
We brought Orrin out here and he said, time out, stop what you're doing. We need to build a golf course in these sand dunes.
That's the business pivot that paid off, from rocks and narrow corridors to the sand-based heifer pasture. That's the decision that would forever change the trajectory of the destination that is now Gamble Sands.
It could have been really easy for them to pull the trigger back in the mid-2000s and say, hey, we got this property, we're going to sell home lots, but it wasn't. It was more about the integrity of building a product that was just really good, and it was about the golf.
November 786 Alpha Papa 718 17,000. The Bend altimeter 2985.
2985 to 718 17,006 Alpha Papa.
David, what was your first impression of Gamble Sands? Like when you first came and showed up to tour the...
It was back in like 08.
Yeah.
And Orrin, Vincent, who I'd known for years since I probably first came to the US. The relationship with Perry came before the relationship with Orrin. And Orrin came and was like, this is a cool place. Somehow he explored or got taken exploring, I'm not sure which, and found the parcel that we're now on and called me and Bill Kerr up and said, hey, can you come look at this? And Bill came in one morning and I came in one afternoon, literally the same day. And met Bill at the gas station. God, I think that's 15 years ago. Every time I see Bill, he shakes his head, not you again. I feel the same way, Bill. I don't know if you're following me or I'm following you.
In addition to David McLay Kidd, Bill Kerr, and Ben Crenshaw, the Gebbers considered several other architects, but ultimately went with Kidd. It was 2011.
And so we got a little more confidence from that meeting and we turned David loose. Heck, he moved his fifth wheel trailer in here and he'd go get coffee and breakfast in town. Guys would want to know who the funny talking guy was. And they had no idea. This guy's the top designer in the world at that time. And, 2 times world designer or whatever. Nobody knew who he was. He just blended into the community. So that was our kind of guy. There was nothing pretentious about him. He just came in here and did it.
I think we both saw the potential, that the site was sand, on a bluff with an amazing view, and a family who, golf wasn't their passion. They're baseball and basketball fans, so it wasn't like they were, we want a golf course that's par 73, that's, tour pros can play. They were more, we think this place is super cool. Our family's been here for, generations. We want other people to think that it's cool as well, but nobody's coming to pick apples.
We wanted it to be fun. We told David, hey man, there's like 1,200 acres here. It's all sand. Under these sagebrushes, man, it's sand. We've dug holes out here and it's 50 feet to rock. It's really sandy. So this is your canvas. What are you gonna do with it? And he said, I'm gonna make a course that just floats down and it's gonna land on the landscape. I'm like, really? Man, there's not gonna be a whole bunch of catwork? He said, it doesn't have to be. He said, this is a natural site.
There was a giant leap of faith to build a golf course in the middle of nowhere, abandoned style, off the beaten track, as we were just clawing our way out of the worst recession in generations. And so, my small team were all here.
According to golfindustry.com, from 2003 to 2011, the number of golfers in America went from 30.6 million down to 25.7 million. And in the first 3 years of the recession, there were 510 course closures.
We had a great site, had a great owner. You know, our mission was to build the golf course very economically, instead of sort of reaching back to that 2008 chaos where people were building golf that was just totally unsustainable. This didn't have real estate, so it couldn't, you couldn't justify spending, $10 million. So the golf course was built at very modest cost, and whether by design or just good luck, I was on a mission to sort of build golf courses that were fun and playable, and Gamble was my first opportunity in the US post-recession to do exactly that.
My fence guys, my cowboys put the first water system in here. For David, man, they were laying these lines. I mean, it was a very simple deal. And I just said, I want it to be fun, man. I'm a hacker. I'm a high handicap guy. I love golf, but I play a couple times a year is it. I go to the scramble and I'm the guy that, hey man, we got to get that guy's drive in before we finish this round. And I told David, I don't want to lose my ball, man. I just want to come play. He built that course here. I can play this course and never lose my ball. I mean, I thought it was fantasy, but it's that fun.
We want it to be fun, acceptable, ball findable was something David said all the time, was got to be ball findable in the edges. So it just kind of morphed into, we wanted to create David's vision, and it was, here's the landscape, here's what I built, go do it. And no one said no.
The family they completely got it. They were like, we need to build something that's super fun, that somebody will come back to again and again and again. Getting them to come once is not going to cut it here. And I would dare to say that the subtle differences between Bandon and Gamble, Bandon may well have a bigger draw from farther afield. This place may have a smaller draw from closer by, but it seems to me that the Bandonistas go once a year and the Gambleistas come multiple times a year.
Gamble Sands opened in 2014 and received Golf Digest honor of Best New Golf Course. Ron Whitten, the magazine's longtime editor of golf course architecture, wrote, quote, "Gamble Sands is on a scale like no other, with wider fairways and broader greens than just about any other golf course in America. Kidd wants golfers to have fun, maybe even shoot their lowest score ever, so there are 3 drivable par 4s on the course. Have at 'em." And in Golf Digest's latest ranking of the top 100 public courses in the country, Gamble Sands is number 31, wedged between Pinehurst number 4 and Pinehurst number 10.
I never could imagine that a world-class golf course could be 30 minutes from my house.
I'm a double digit, and at 78, I can't hit it, very long. But it's a fair course, You just keep the ball in play, keep moving forward.
What in opening year, do you remember how many golfers you had?
So we opened in August, so it was only like 5,000 to 6,000.
Year 2, do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was 15.
15,000.
Yeah.
Did that exceed expectations, or was that right about the number you were hoping for?
It exceeded at that time, for the number that a lot of people were telling us. A local golf course owner that I won't name on camera, who's a good friend of mine, we played it when it was growing in, and he said, yeah, you'll top out at $125 and you'll probably get 6,000 or 7,000 people. You might pay your maintenance. It's like, crap.
Needless to say, Gamble Sands has been a huge success. In year 3, they did 19,000 rounds. And regardless of the doubters, critics, the recession, and the risk, scratching this particular piece of their gravel paid off. In 2023, they hit 26,000 rounds.
The innovative part and doing something different, being called a little bit crazy, isn't new to this family. I don't know how many times people are like, "What are you doing building that golf? That's so dumb." Now they're asking me for a free round.
You'd say the Gebbers family got the last laugh, but that's not necessarily true.
Being able to stand here and listen to people come off the golf course cheering, hooting and hollering, sitting at the bar at night, listening to guys saying, "Oh, I had the best round of my life." Or a ladies group comes in and they say, "Oh, we had the most fun. This is the best we've ever played." That stuff drives you and drives you to be better. And the golf course shows that.
Coming up in this series on Growing Gamble, the impact the Gebbers family and Gamble Sands has had on the community. What else is there to do in Brewster? And then the idea, assessing the demand, and the decision for more golf.
We proved the concept. We did it. You know, we're there. Now you're at the top of the hill. Now the biggest danger is rolling off the other side, right? And the only way that's going to happen is if we do it to ourselves. So let's take the time, pause, take a breath, make sure we get it right.